You're watching a Clip from the Club podcast.
Make sure you follow it on Spotify and Apple Podcasts and give it a 5-star review.
Yes, people, what's going on? This clip from the club is sponsored by the lovely people over at NordVPN. Remember, they have some exclusive offers for you guys that you can get exclusively part of the club. NordVPN.com/the club. They've got 4 months extra free offer on at the moment. And because it's their 11th birthday, they've got some birthday bonanza bonus deals going down. I use NordVPN mainly to watch football all around the world that I can't get. And you know when you're on social media and stuff and it says this clip is not available in your region? Well, with NordVPN on your phone or on your laptop, you can simply change your location to a location that can view that clip and then watch your goals happy days. You can also use NordVPN with one account on 6 devices. So everyone in my house has got onto my NordVPN. It's absolutely quality. Anyway, enjoy this clip. Make sure you check out NordVPN and I'll see you in a bit. Yes, people, what's going on? Welcome back to the club. Julian Nagelsmann.
I feel so sorry for the guy. Within the space of a week, he was the manager of the biggest club in one of the biggest clubs in Europe. All right, he got unfairly sacked, crazily.
Unfairly?
We can talk about that later, but unfairly sacked in my opinion. He loses that job. He gets interest from Spurs, and he loses his girlfriend all in the same week.
Do you think the things were linked?
I think Spurs, yeah.
Do you think that it all came together? Do you think the girl saw that he'd lost his job, saw that Tottenham were interested, and she suddenly went, "You're definitely not good enough for me. I thought you were, but you're not the man I thought you were."
Maybe she's been watching the club.
After Bayern sacked him and his missus went, "You're a bit of a loser, I'm out." Spurs went, "He's the man for us."
Perfect for us.
I feel really bad for the guy, Julian Nagelsmann. I mean, Bayern spent £25 million quid on the guy.
Take some stock here. Bayern Munich had the worst points tally in 11 years. Should he be sacked?
Yeah,
they're 1 point off the top.
No.
Unbeaten in the Champions League.
No.
Just dismantled PSG with Messi.
Buvey, what this is an example, and I've got to respect this. This is an example of a club having standards. When the standards aren't met, they act decisively. It's all very well to go, but he's doing a good job. By your definition, or whoever's professing this theory, he's doing a good job. He's doing a good job compared to X, Y, or Z. But for the standards that Bayern Munich have, where they walked the league, they're not sitting second in the league.
Yeah.
Let's remember as well, last year, do you remember when Bayern Munich got launched out of the Champions League by Villarreal? We know that, come on, you've got to say something about submarine now, surely.
No,
I
respect Bayern Munich massively.
No, but I said Villarreal. That's your
family.
cue.
Yeah, but I only do that in respect to when Man United bottled it to the Yellow Submarine in the Europa League final.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Right.
United bottling it in Europe.
No, but
that was the last European final.
Just to kind of talk about Nagelsmann, when people go, it was unjust. He's not living up to the standards that Bayern Munich believe to be the standards of the club. Everybody else looking at it from outside, maybe from these shores, go, he's doing a good job there. All right, what do you know about Bayern Munich culture, mate? Because they don't think he's doing a good job. They don't think he's doing well enough. They don't accept the fact that they got beaten in the Champions League by Villarreal. They don't accept the fact that they're second in the league. And they've looked at Thomas Tuchel, who moved round the corner, by the way. That's got to be like the Grim Reaper lurking. He moved round the corner from the training ground. So Nagelsmann's on his way to work. He's like, all right, TT, all right, oh, God. But they know that he's available, and I think they're looking at it in Europe. Nagelsmann went out to Villarreal. They've got Man City, which is about as tough a draw as you can get in the European Cup. Who is the right man to beat Man City? Say you make it about the European Cup. Who are Bayern Munich more likely to beat Man City with? Nagelsmann or Tuchel?
I mean, we had the conversation about the Champions League and I went, for as much as I think Man City and Bayern's a big game, ultimately I think Pep schools Nagelsmann. And I think that is how I felt about that tie because of Nagelsmann. I do think he's a very good coach.
No, I was going to say, you didn't think that. I did. No, because I remember you
I said Pep will school him.
No, you definitely said.
I don't remember you saying that.
No, you definitely said because I was about to say you got it right. Yeah, what you said was when we did our predictions on this show, you definitely said that Chelsea are more likely to knock out Real Madrid than Man City are to knock out Bayern. And I thought that was impressive because you were clearly
Maybe I've had a Rory. just done everything.
Yeah.
No, but you clearly approach this in a similar way to the board, which is where they've looked at it and gone, Nagelsmann maybe beat City, might beat City, possibly does. Whereas I think Tuchel does.
You know what was funny? We hear that sources say that he hasn't lost the dressing room because he never really had it. And then I saw pictures of him this week turning up to training on a skateboard. On a scooter.
I saw him driving to
Imagine being Thomas Muller and that, and you're like,
What's going on?
It's because he's still young, isn't it? It's because he's a kid.
He's a young guy.
Do you know?
I think the argument can be slightly more multifaceted in the sense that they spent 25 million quid on his release clause, the most expensive manager in terms of a single track. Yeah, before Potter. Well, no, I still think it's above Potter, but I think the long-term approach for Nagelsmann was an interesting one for Bayern Munich. They've gone from someone like Ancelotti a couple of years ago. Guardiola was a relatively short, 3-year stint. I think Nagelsmann was quite an exciting long-term prospect in German football. So I think you're right in terms. I'd rather have. If I was a Munich fan right now, I'd rather have Thomas Tuchel in the Champions League. But I do think it's slightly disappointing that the younger, promising, progressive manager, because Tuchel will park the bus against City. It gives them a fight.
It's not parking. When you say that, that's not what it is. It's not parking the bus. It's playing to your strengths, and it's doing what you have to do in order to beat Manchester City. You'd be insane to play against Man City, to play against Pep Guardiola, and go, tell you what, chaps, let's have a nice, expansive game.
Whether you like it or not, I respect it. I respect it when you have to, but it is still parking.
No, that's not parking the bus.
No, it's not. It's tactics.
That's not exactly. That's not parking the bus.
Well, Sam Allardyce parked the bus with Bolton Wanderers, got them into Europe.
But Sam Allardyce,
not everyone can play beautiful
wasn't
football.
Parking the bus then, bro. I think that's a bit unfair. When you had Yuri Djorkaeff and Ivan Campo and that, he weren't really parking the bus back then.
No, look,
he was quite modern back then.
Okay, maybe a Tony Pulis. I respect parking the bus.
He had an earpiece.
I respect Tuchel winning the Champions League. He did it in his way.
Does anyone know anything about this? You know the aforementioned lady that you mentioned that says no longer. Apparently she was... Have you read this about the team being leaked and things like that? The team sheet was leaked.
No, fill me in. Go on.
I don't know enough about it. I was hoping that one of... I know. I was hoping that one of you...
So basically he had a mole within the camp who was leaking the squads, etc.
And it was her.
Dean Ederson's gone to Bayern Munich.
They didn't know who it was, but Nagelsmann came out and said, I don't know why someone's doing it, but we got a mole.
Oh, right.
It's not a good look, is it, in terms of how you manage a dressing room? Maybe it's his age. Maybe his age at a club like Bayern Munich, top 5 clubs in terms of stature in world football, arguably crazy.
You never hear, you hear of Chelsea and you've heard of United often, and you hear of various other teams where the dressing room kind of revolts against them. You've never really heard this about Bayern Munich. It always seems to be a sensible, well-run...
It's an institution, isn't it?
Yeah, and it seems to have just kind of joined in with the rest of modern football. Now, because Tuchel's going to Bayern Munich and Nagelsmann is now on the market, a lot of talk was about Tuchel possibly being the next Spurs manager. And now it's switched. Julian Nagelsmann's being linked.
This is joyful news for Daniel Levy. If you're Daniel Levy, I think you were... Whatever that saying is about being in a creek without a paddle, I think that's where you were if you were Daniel Levy. Like when you were exploring who could potentially go to Tottenham a week or so ago, you were looking at it going like, okay, so the front runners would have been Pochettino, but they've done that. And I think on some level it's romantic. On some level it could work, but on another level it's fairly uninspiring and regressive. Then you're looking at other contenders. Tuchel would be mentioned, but he's far too good. And then it gets difficult. Then it's kind of Zerbi. Then it's Michael Carrick, maybe, who's a former terrorist legend at the club, but again, very early in his career at Middlesbrough. And you kind of go, I don't know where this is going to go. I don't know who the obvious front runner is. I don't know who it's going to be. And suddenly, it's almost as if Daniel Levy has gone to bed one night and said a little prayer, and just like Aretha Franklin.
Yes.
Yeah. Beautiful singer. Beautiful singer.
It came true. Just like Aretha Franklin suggested, it came true. He must be over the moon that suddenly he has a manager like Nagelsmann who's so in keeping with the Tottenham tradition available, because I think that he can go do his best to get him now. It keeps Nagelsmann in football. Is suddenly like an inspiring manager.
How is Nagelsmann in line with Tottenham's tradition?
Value.
Out of interest.
No, in the way that I'd say Mourinho, Conte are certainly not. The way that if you think about the archetypal Tottenham fan, the way that they see the game being played, they honestly believe in like
younger. Maybe he's a Pochettino 2.0. Maybe he is that kind of Pochettino, that new spark of energy.
If you were a Spurs fan, I know you're not. If you were a Spurs fan, would you rather wait until the summer to bring someone like Nagelsmann in, or bring him in now?
You do it right now. You do it right now, and you give a Conte all the money in his contract, give him a little muffin, and send him on his way. You give him a nice.
Do you think that's why they've not sacked him? Because we even did a video saying Conte has been sacked. Funnily enough, we did a video about Conte being sacked because of the rumours were quite strong. Do you think they saw the Tuchel Nagelsmann thing happen and went, "Whoa, lads, Our man's now gone to Bayern Munich.
I don't understand how Spurs operate. I don't know how you can get to I know it's a few years ago and it's a bit of a jokey kind of assessment, but how can you get to a League Cup final, the eve of a League Cup final, the first one you've had in since 2008 or whatever, beating Chelsea with Woodgate, etc. Then you sack someone like Jose Mourinho, who's a serial winner, for kind of financial purposes.
And then the name that you're about to say, you need to say the name now. They employ
Mr. Ryan Mason.
And the reason that you have to do it now is because Ryan Mason is potentially a front runner for the job now, and that is just completely insurmountable for what Tottenham
What pictures of Daniel Levy has Ryan Mason got?
Mate,
he's got something.
Like Ryan
sold down the river.
Ryan Mason taking that job now would effectively end Tottenham's chances of getting into European Cup. Just totally off topic here, but not totally off topic because it's about Ryan Mason. I was listening to him on a podcast. Got a bit of trivia for you, right? Do you know when Ryan Mason had that injury at Chelsea that ended his career?
Yeah.
2 Chelsea players visited Ryan Mason in hospital.
What year was it?
2013. I'm sort of looking over at our producer.
14, 15?
I'm looking at our producer Wist.
Because the reason I asked
2017.
because you're going to ask us which 2 players. Right?
2 players from the Chelsea squad visited Ryan Mason in hospital on the day that his career ended, effectively.
Petr Cech. Because he had the same kind of
guess,
injury.
But he wasn't a Chelsea player at the time, I don't think.
Oh, was he an Arsenal player at that time?
It was.
John Terry?
Correct. And I'll tell you, it's and he's quite funny about it, Ryan Mason, right? The other player was Willian.
Wow.
And Ryan Mason, they kind of went, John Terry, I think they kind of had a bit of a relationship anyway, but John Terry was like very considerate and went to visit. And they went and Willian. And they were like, did you know Willian? Ryan Mason was like, literally never spoken to him before. Literally didn't. But he was just so
good
affected.
deed for the day.
Yeah, he was just so affected by what he saw. But yeah, look, Ryan Mason, sorry to bring that up, but Ryan Mason as the alternative, when you said, do you wait till the summer? Do you wait till the summer or do you get Nagelsmann in now if you can? Bruv, Ryan Mason. Yeah. If Ryan Mason, it's not like we're saying, do you stick with a manager that you quite like or a manager that you have some faith in or a manager that has a proven track record until the end of the season and potentially get to, or do you bring in Ryan Mason? Of course, whatever the, if it's an A and B, if B is Ryan Mason, the answer is A. It doesn't matter what A is. A could be anything.
Buvey, Nagelsmann, bring him in now.
1,000,000%. I think they've got the best chance out of everyone of finishing 4th if they can do it. If they don't do it, I think they're 5th.
Yeah, I think they're not going to finish top 4 if Conte stays because it's blown up. So the only chance they got is probably that. But at the same time, if I was a Spurs fan, I'd half want to wait till the summer for him to come in and give him that pre-season and stuff because it's important. Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. Make sure you're keeping it locked to the club by subscribing. See you in a bit.